Hello sports fans, welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my Week 2 XFL Power Rankings. So, Week 1 is officially in the books, and going over the Week 1 results. The Renegades defeated the Vipers 22-20 in the season opener. The Roughnecks destroyed the Guardians 33-12. The Battlehawks used a late comeback to defeat the Brahmas 18-15. And the Defenders beat the Sea Dragons 22-18 in the finale. So, my Week 2 Power Rankings, at number 8, the worst team in the XFL, I'm going to go with the Guardians. They were expected to be one of the worst teams in the XFL coming into the season, and they showed exactly that this week against the Roughnecks. They got destroyed 33-12. Quarterback Paxton Lynch was not good. In fact, he ended up getting benched. And the Guardians also have a terrible offensive line, which allowed 7 sacks, and offensively, they're a mess. Defensively, they showed some promise, but offensively, they need help, especially at quarterback and offensive line. And I would expect to see DeAndre Francois, former Florida State star quarterback, see some action at quarterback next week in the home opener against the Brahmas. At number 7, I've got the Vegas Vipers. So they had a great first half against the Renegades, but then a brutal second half. They led 14-3. The offense was putting up points, and they were playing lights out defense. But then in the second half, they could not move the football, and they turned the ball over 3 times. Quarterback Luis Perez was great in the first half with 177 yards and 2 touchdowns, but then was terrible in the second half, so I would not be shocked to see former NFL backup quarterback Brett Hundley in at quarterback sometime in the near future, maybe even next week in the Vipers' home opener against the Defenders, a game they really need to win. But the Vipers, they weren't terrible. I could see the argument for them higher, but I've got them at 7 after week 1. At number 6, I've got the San Antonio Brahmas. So they lost to the Battlehawks 18-15. They blew a 12-point lead and allowed the Battlehawks to score 15 points in the last 90 seconds. And before the last 2 minutes of the game, the Brahmas defense was holding the Battlehawks to just 3 points and a little over 100 yards. So they were playing tremendous defense, but then in the final 2 minutes, they gave up 15 points, and they could not finish the game. Offensively, for the Brahmas, they were pretty lifeless in the first half, only putting up 3 points. They had some missed opportunities in the second half, but the second half was better as they were able to score the majority of their points there. But they had a good rushing attack with 133 yards, and they also weren't terrible in the passing game, as quarterback Jack Cohn had 207 yards, touchdown, and a pick. But the Brahmas were not able to find themselves victorious in week 1. They find themselves at number 6, but they are a very complete team, a team that could definitely challenge for the XFL championship. Up next is the Guardians in Orlando. At number 5, I've got the Seattle Sea Dragons. So the Sea Dragons, they should have won their game against the Defenders. Quarterback Ben DiNucci fumbled the football at the 1-yard line when Seattle was looking for the game-winning touchdown. And the Sea Dragons looked a lot like the Vipers. A good first half, then a second half collapse where they turned the ball over a lot. The Sea Dragons turned the ball over 3 times. Quarterback Ben DiNucci was responsible for all 3 with 2 interceptions and a fumble at the goal line I just mentioned. Now the Sea Dragons, they had a good passing attack with 288 yards, but they were extremely pass-heavy as 56 pass attempts as a team and not much support in the run game. But they could have and should have won their opening game, but they weren't able to. But they were one of the better teams in week 1. They enter at number 5. Up next is their home opener against the Battlehawks. Number 4 is the Battlehawks. They weren't good against the Brahmas aside from the final 2 minutes. Their defense was good in the first half, not great in the second half. And their offense was awful until the final 2 minutes where they scored 15 points to get the win. An unreal comeback. They were down 15-3 with 2 minutes to go. They then scored a touchdown, got the 3-point conversion to make it a 3-point game. They kept possession by converting the 4th and 15 as the alternative to the onside kick. And then they scored the game-winning touchdown with 16 seconds to go. And overall, not a great game for the Battlehawks, but they were lucky to get the win in week 1. And they entered number 4 in my power rankings. Up next is a trip to Seattle. Number 3, I've got the DC Defenders. So they almost blew the game against the Sea Dragons, but they ended up recovering a fumble at the 1-yard line to get the win. They lived up to their name as their defense came up with several big plays, including 2 interceptions by Michael Joseph, one of which was a pick 6. And the offense wasn't great, only 177 yards and 3.3 yards of play. But they got the win, and they were very run-heavy against the Sea Dragons. 33 rushes, just 21 passes. And of those 21 passes, they completed just 9 of them. But the Defenders, they got the win. They're 3rd in my power rankings. Next week, they faced the Vipers. But the Defenders, they were not great in week 1. At number 2, I've got the Arlington Renegades. So they didn't play a good game in the opener. They trailed Vegas 14-3 at the half. Their defense got some big turnovers in the second half, and they were able to put some points on the board, but their offense was not very good. They opted to go with Drew Plitt at quarterback, and he was solid, but the offense was just not able to score. So of their 22 points, 19 of them came from turnovers, where the defense either scored it for them or gave them excellent starting field position, because they had 3 points where the offense actually did all the work. 3 points. The other 19 came off turnovers. They had 2 pick sixes, and the defense also gave them good starting field position a few times and put them in field goal range. But the Renegades are still a good team. I am very concerned about their offense, and they definitely need to turn things around before they play the Roughnecks next week. And my number 1 team is the Roughnecks. They were dominant week 1 against the Guardians, and they are now a perfect 6-0 when you put together 2020 and this season. They haven't skipped a beat. Their offense was great. Defensively, they were great with 7 sacks and forcing 4 turnovers. And the Roughnecks are at number 1. Next week is matchup against the Renegades. That one should definitely be a good one. But that's all for my Week 2 XFL Power Rankings. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn notifications so I do my best to post as often as possible. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my rankings, disagree, and why. I feel like there's several teams you could put in many different spots, so I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.